Sahana vavatu Sahana bhunaktu Sahaviryam karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May the Lord protect us. May He nourish us. May we acquire the capacity to study and understand the scriptures. May our study be brilliant and may we not cavil at each other. Om, peace, peace, peace unto us all. Dear brothers and sisters, loving Sai Ram to all of you. We welcome everyone to the satsang of the Sri Sathya Sai Baba Center of Arcadia. We are now continuous study circle on Gita Vahini. And for the online version, we have page 27. And the people who have the hard copy of the book is page 47. So last week, we talked about where Swami mentioned about the qualities of a Sthita Prajna, man of steady wisdom, one who is established always, almost like an enlightened one. So this is given in 17, sloka 56, 72, in chapter 2. So please refer to that. These are all very important. A lot of people memorize them, contemplate on them. Actually, Mahatma Gandhi, even though he was a politician, statesman, he used to memorize the whole thing and chant. So here we talked about Lord Krishna says there are two ways we can have realization, self-realization. One is path of knowledge, jnana, that is Sankhya Yogas teach that. Second is path of karma, path of action. So which we do that. Both will lead to the same goal. So, but Lord Krishna gave importance to this action because most of us always want to, very few people can be still, not doing anything. There are a lot of people say that is why one of the worst punishment people give is solitary confinement. So that means you can't have communication. So people cannot take it except yogis like Aurobindo, Ramana Maharshi. For them, they are revel in the Atma. For them, it is otherwise. We need the contact with people. So that is why he says Karma Yoga is easier. That is why Lord Krishna had two chapters are devoted. One is the chapter 3 Karma Yoga, which is action of the Nishkama Karma, and then Karma Sannyasa Yoga. So giving of the karma. So both dwell with, because we are all involved in action, how to do the action. So as I said, it is not easy to just do the path of self-inquiry. It is the right royal road. That is why once you know that, it is going. That is what Swami said, there are three ways to go to the thing. So you can go in a bullock cart, or you can go in a bus or a train, or you can go in the flight. So like jnana is like going on a flight, quick, fast, but danger. Once you fall, you won't be seen. Even traces of the body may not be seen. Whereas here you get injured, but you can recover. So It is good path, but it is not for many people, particularly when you have body consciousness. Lord Krishna himself says in chapter 12, Kleshodhikarastesham avyakta sakta chetasam. This thing of worshipping God as unmanifest is very, very difficult. Klesha means very difficult. Adhika means very difficult. Klesha adhikarastesham abhya. So very, very difficult. God himself says. But you can do it if you have three things. Sanniyam indriya grama, you have mastery of all senses. How many of us have is always mastery of senses? Sarvatra samabuddhaya, always equal-minded, nothing bothers. They're always in bliss. And the sarvabhuta hiterataha, they wish for the good of all beings, even including snakes and cockroaches and rats, which we use to avoid that. But for them, everything they see God. That is complete sarvabhuta hite rataha, complete love for all beings because they see the same divinity. Actually, Lord Krishna in Gita says, we all see God. Where are you? Somebody says, oh, I'm not able to see God. Let me see God. One of the teachers was telling, what all you are seeing is God only. You are thinking something else you are seeing. So don't try to see God. You are always seeing God, but you are thinking it is something else. So for that, Lord Krishna, one of the slokas says, Samas sarveshu bhuteshu tishtantam parameshwaram. That means I am there in equally, samas, that means equally in all beings. I am sitting in all beings. Vinashyastu vinashyasti sapashyati sapashyati. Who is the real seer? Pashyati sapashyati means the one who is really seeing is, who sees that God is residing in all beings. Vinashyastu vinashyastu. Even though it destroyed, that means our body, mind, after a while is gone, right? Some people it is 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 50 years, 70 years. 100 years or 103, whatever it is, once you are born, you are going to die. It's a question of time. But even though you are dying, you are not dying. Vinashyastu avinashyasti. That is the beauty. These masters, that is the real seer, like Ramana Maharshi. They don't see that even though it is not easy though, it is constant practice. Some little pain comes, little things, we are all get that time, my God, what will happen? So is it really? So really we are established in that, nothing happens. So that thing, you have to do that. For that, how do you do the karma? So as I said, we all have to do the karma. Lord Krishna himself said last week, we talked about, even though I have no duty to do any karma, I do work morning to evening. Name parthasti kartavyam trishu lokeshu sinchana. In this three world, I have nothing, no obligation to do any work because nana vaptam avaptyam. There is nothing I have to gain, nothing I'll do if I don't do nothing. But still I work. Vartayeva sakarmati. Still I work. Why? Set an example. Because if you don't do that, nobody will be there. Swami is an example. All avatars. Sri Shirdi Baba, our Swami Satya Sai, Sri Ramakrishna, all them, even though they are till they die, they always were benefiting the humanity by their life and their message. So he says, you do that. But how do you do that? Last time, you should do the spirit of yajna. That's what Lord Krishna says. Yajna, the only work which you do as a yajna is good. Otherwise, it will bind you. Because by yajna, it comes through the karma, and through the yajna, you will get all the rains and benefits, everything. So people used to do the yajna. But where are we doing yajna? Is not for us to get the materials. People, even Swami said, Atirudra yajna, he did it. So we want to do in America. Swami says, no. The real yajna in the modern age is whatever work we do for the benefit of the society without the feeling of doership, enjoyership is yajna. So yajna is, those days they had huge fire, people can say it and do that. But in the age, whatever we do is, actually Swami said in the discourse, you can say at the yajna times that whatever we do with that spirit, then it becomes a yajna. Like people have poor feeding, or they go and give the books to children who need, or provide health care, education, or even just thinking samasta doing Akhanda Gayatri for the welfare of the society. All this is you not doing for your selfish reason. You are doing for the welfare of the humanity, welfare of all. That is what God is pleased. So when you do it, the main thing is whatever we do, are we doing it for the highest good of all? Second, we dedicate everything to God. Sai Arpanam, Krishna Arpanam, Rama Arpanam. Lord, this I am dedicating to you. This is not me, it is I'm dedicating to you. And third thing is, you should not do with the feeling of I am doing it and I want the results, fruit of the action. So one is, whatever we do it for God, to please God, and dedicate all action to God, and don't expect the fruit of action. So just say, fruit of action. That is why karmanyeva adhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachan. These are all like formulas we should completely sink into our heart. So that means without you get the fruits, there is natural law of karma is whatever you do, you will pay, get the reaction. That is the thing. As you sow, you reap. Whatever you do, action for every action, equal and opposite reaction. That is bound to happen. But the whole secret of action is knowingly and willingly you dedicate the fruits of the action to the Lord. Then they won't bind you. And final thing is, you should give away the feeling of I am doing the things, because that is the whole woof and woof of Maya is I and mine. That is it's not easy. This I and mine is the whole bondage, all the spiritual practice. Once that is gone, you are liberated when you are alive. Jivan Mukta, we are liberated. So all the spiritual practices we do is to get rid of this thing. For this, constant reflection, self-inquiry is needed. So that is where we stopped. Anything else, Nirupama, you want to add? Okay, then we will continue on page 47. And if on the online version is page 27. Here, if the wheel of creation is to move.
Sairam, if the wheel of creation is to move smooth, each one has to keep on doing karma. Whoever he is, he cannot get around this obligation. Even he who has achieved the highest jnana has to observe this rule. Eating and drinking, intake and the release of breath, these too are karmas. Who can exist without these acts? You desire benefit from the world and from the community, and so some activity on your part is their due. This Brahmanda, this Vishwa, is really speaking a huge workshop. Every human being is a limb in this organization. The limb is allotted a task in accordance with its structure, and it must find its fulfillment in doing that particular work. Whatever work one has been allotted to be done has to be done as an offering to God. There is no single thing in the universe that does not engage itself in this great task. Plant and insect, stone and stump, wind and rain, heat and cold. If each of these does not work as per plan, the world cannot subsist. The sun and the moon carry on their routine tasks. Wind and fire have to perform their duties without demur. If the earth and the sun refuse to do the allotted duties, what is to happen to the world? So there is no one who is karmaless, but yet with body. It is only when each performs his task without fail and care that the wheel will move quick and smooth. Would you like me to continue?
Yeah, you can stop here. We can just go on.
Yeah, I think this is really important because just kind of like what we've been talking about, the universe has to work in its way, and everything that happens has a purpose. Um, Karma is the action that serves that purpose. And ultimately, it's the purpose that we refer to as dharma. So every being, every physical being is born, actually, every soul is born into a physical body because of this purpose that it serves in that lifetime. And the length of that lifetime is also sort of predetermined, but it's there for a reason and it's in that body for a reason. So everything makes the machine work perfectly. It's like Bhagwan uses the term organization here. And so I think about, let's just take a hospital where you have all these different people that perform different roles, but it's necessary to sustain the lives that are in that hospital, that all of these people that have come there with, bringing their burdens, their sicknesses, all of their caregivers, their loved ones who also come bringing this desperation to save somebody that they love dearly. Obviously, you have doctors that have the knowledge of what's happening in the body. So maybe they can prescribe a treatment. You've got the nurses that help carry out those treatments. You have pharmacists that make sure all the medications are the right doses. You have housekeeping that makes sure everything stays clean. You have the people that work in the cafeteria. So everything works very perfectly. It's just sort of an example, but this organization is really this whole universe, because each of us and each being, whether it's the flowers that look very beautiful on the altar, or even just the clouds in the sky, serve some sort of purpose with that divine spirit, that divine energy.
Yeah, that is very important point. We sometimes people say, "Oh, I'm some janitor," and somebody says CEOs. It's nothing like that. Everyone has a role to play. God has written the script. He is the producer, director, and he has given each one of us a script. But all our duty is act well thy part. There all the honor lies. Actually, it is Shakespeare or Wordsworth once said, act well your part. There all the honor lies. So whatever we do to the best. Actually, Swami gave, like the way he gave the example of hospital one time in the discourse on birthday, Swami said, gave the example of a aeroplane. So he says, the engine we think is very important. He says, no, even the little screws in some places, they are as important. Sometimes some simple mechanism like that is gone, the whole plane can just collapse. So it can happen. So everyone has a role, but main thing is to remember you have to play that role. That is why this particular one, if the wheel of creation to move smooth, this is also another beautiful shloka, because I want some people who know Sanskrit to know that evam pravartitam chakram nanuvartayati hayaha aghayur indriya ramo mogham partha sajivati. This evam pravartitam chakram, chakram means wheel, this wheel of creation, I'm making it go. Nanuvarta, one who doesn't follow that, aghayur indriya ramo mogam, his life is waste. God is telling, if you don't do that, your life is waste and full of sense pleasures. Some people, anybody, even wealthy, anybody, you need to always keep going on. If you don't do the work, he says your life is waste. That is why Swami says, when I went there, Swami, there are so many retired people in Prashanthil. We used to work for Swami at 65, 75, 80. Swami says, there is no retirement. I will retire you. Like, I will retire you. So, which is good now. That is why some of those people live till 85, 95, and they still function so well, because keep going. So there is nothing like in the divine mission, no retirement. You may not have a position, place, but always a scope to do the work. So you should always keep on going, because that is how you benefit the society. Otherwise, he says agayu, that means you waste your life. But do it, the main thing is without moha, without, the whole problem is moha, attachment. things. Actually, there is a nice story. There is, Swami said, there is a story of Mohajit. Anybody knows here? So there was a prince by name Mohajit. So he went to a sage. He was a very good man. He was a prince king. Even the kings used to be very philosophical those days. So he went to the sage, Swami, please teach me a spiritual life so that I can advance and I can get self-realization. This is Swami's story. There's it in Chinnakatha. So a lot of Swami's stories, Chinnakatha, small stories, he used to give in discourse, and that they were all compiled into small books, but they're very profound. So this Mohajit goes to the sage and asks for help. He says, "What is your name?" He says, "Mohajit." What does Mohajit mean? Conquered, Moha, conquered delusion. Your name itself says you conquered. Did you conquer? That man is so confident. Swami, not only I conquered, everybody in my kingdom has conquered. He was so confident to say, "Oh, really?" He was surprised. Okay, then he took the ropes of the prince, went back to the kingdom, and he has to go to the palace. So that they're all soaked in blood. So then he told the maid, the one who is gatekeeper, so this prince was killed. So you see, this is all blood by the attacked by people, and then he died. So he was indifferent. Is, didn't even communicate to the king. He says, "Yeah, I will tell you in the due course." Usually you get shocked. The prince died and think that. He says, "Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityu dhruvam janma mutasya cha." What is born has to die. What is the big deal? We are making it a big deal. So you should not grieve. He was shocked, this lady. Then he went to the king because the son. So it's just the prince has died. So just this is, he says. So he says, in the thing, Ekavruchas, there is a beautiful shloka in Sanskrit. Ekavrucha samaruda nana jati vihangama prabhate vividishyanti katatra paridevana. In a tree, but in the evening, so many birds come, right? All of them, they are staying on the tree. In the morning, what happens? All those birds go a different direction. Similarly, he came and he has gone. What is there? So then his father also was not. Then went to the mother, the queen. So what is, he says, "Oh yeah, when you go to a hotel or there it says choultry, there's kaka. You go there, so many people get together in the evening, meet there, and then in the morning they each one on their way and way. This is the way it is." So she was not part of the. And then went to the wife itself, princess wife. So your husband, this happened, died. He says, Nadyam Vahati, Idam Kashtam, Adam Kashtam, Nadyam Vahati Sangama, Samyogacha, Vyogacha, Katatra Paridevana. In a river, there are two sticks are going. They come sometimes together, and sometimes they go away, sometimes come. Similarly, lot of people in life we meet together, go away, meet together. They're part of life. What is there? So that wife also. So even the maid, the king, the queen, everybody was not part of that. Means really they conquered Moha. Then this man convinced my God. Then he came back. He told the prince, "By the way, your kingdom is taken over by some enemy kings. Everything is gone. Your family, everybody is gone. There is nothing there. So I want to let you know that this is what happened." This life is dream, is water bubble. Today it is there, and tomorrow it says, "Mata nasti, pita nasti, nasti bandhus sahodara, artham nasti, gruham nasti, tasmat jagrata." Mother is nothing, father is nothing, and wealth is nothing. So that is yes, what is there? Then he says, "Yeah, you already conquered. You don't need any more instruction." So that is the whole problem. We all have moha. What is the moksha? Swami's definition. I told many times. Anybody says moha chaya. So his moha is gone. That means that minute you don't need to leave the body, or automatically you are liberated. Moha chaya is once moha is gone. So this is moha jit. So you already have moksha. So that is what Swami says. So we think of the big thing, liberation means you go someplace. Actually, we are going to put next month article, I want liberation now, to read that. So we sometimes don't understand what liberation is. You can liberated as long as you're not bound by things. Why, you have some question?
Yeah, it's from Aravind.
Hmm.
I have a couple of queries which I have sent on a Zoom. Do any other living beings have Kartrutva and Bhoktrutva? I think no. And yet they are considered lower than man. Why? Another question. All our actions, either good or bad. For instance, blinking my eyes or walking, they are actions which are neither good or bad. What makes an action become good or bad?
Yeah, because in actions, in anything, there are some instinctive actions, impulsive actions. I told you before, Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam, who God resides in all being. When everything is divine atom, that means He's there in even a stone, in a plant, in a bird, in a beast, in the animal and human beings. God, but the only difference is the manifestation. Like light is there, so you have thick cover of black cloth, you can see. Little whiter cloth, you can see. If there's no covering at all, you can see well. Same thing, the divinity is manifest in everything in the universe. Swami said, Kana Kana Muchanam, every cell and every atom in the universe is permeated by God. We should establish ourselves. But the manifestation is different. As Swami says, in stone, the consciousness is sleep. Then in plants, it's aware. Then it is in animals awake. Only because most of the actions these things have are instinctive. Like animals, when there is a sees an attack in the enemy, it runs away. That is instinct by fear. And they see some food, they instinctively eat because there is hunger and food. These are all called instinctive impulses. And even human beings, we have that when you see food. But speciality about the humans is, these are all what he says, blinking, eating food, sleeping. That is why these are all ahara, nidra, bhayamaithunamcha. Swami says these are all common to all animals. Eating, drinking, sleeping, having sense pleasure. What is the speciality about human beings is this faculty of discrimination. That is, any action you do, is it good or bad? That God has given that discrimination. That's why in Viveka Chudamani, the name of the book itself is Viveka is discrimination. Chudamani is crest jewel, the crest jewel of discrimination. So we are given that faculty discrimination. Is this good or that bad? So then you have think to choose the good Shreyo mark, Preyo mark. So try to use the which takes me towards truth, good. That is what it is. So we have, that is why we are responsible for our actions. So that is why only in human birth you can attain liberation. Even gods, demigod, they say devatas, they don't have a facility. That's why chine punye matya loka vishanti. Because you do good karma, you go to these different lokas. Like people who are Krishna Bhaktas go to Krishna Loka, Rama Bhakta, Rama Loka, mother worshippers go to mother Loka, like that each one. But you then after you good have punyam, you do that, then once it is done, it is, you have to come back to the artha. Chine punyam, this is Lord Krishna said. When you come back, again you have to go through that. So the one to get out of this cycle is just to have that feeling of completely non-shape and enjoyership. Then we have. Because he was asking, the animals, they don't have that thing to judge whether it is I'm doing that. Naturally, instinctively, they do by nature, not but they say, I want to do that. So that is why they don't have the action what they have. But even there, that is interesting. Because of their karma, even animals they and plants, everything have sattvic, rajasic. In animals, this lion and tiger, they are very ferocious, rajasic time. And then cow, this rabbit, and some of these things, they're very sattvic time. And tamasic is like python, they'll be sleeping all the time for years together. So everything they put it. But man has not bound by those gunas. He can go beyond these three gunas we have by our discrimination. That is the specially given our viveka for the humans. We have able to discriminate. That is why we pay for our consequences. Like animal goes, tiger goes and kills a goat. It is not bound by the consequences because that is his nature. So instinctively it does. But man, when you see something, even though you can eat, hey, this doesn't belong to me. This is somebody else's. You use the discrimination. So then if you do the wrong thing knowingly, you pay for it. That is why you have. So that is why dedicating all the things to God, that is important. That is the answer to the question. Anybody else has a good, like that stimulates discussion. People to ask and comment. You can even what you read, you can what you heard anywhere. Please go ahead.
Coming back to the story that you have shared, Uncle, the kingdom, Mohajit. I was just thinking about it. See, all the people in that kingdom, they are living at, their consciousness is attached to the soul rather than to the mind. So they have no attachments, whether it is the passing away of the king or the princess or losing the kingdom, or so they're not attached. They have not identified themselves to the kingdom, nor to their relation, nor to the positions that they have. So they are living at the Atmic consciousness. And coming back to the mind, if we are attached, for a longest time I was thinking ego, when in my mind I was thinking ego is, okay, when somebody says something, we react. We either feel elevated or we feel depressed, right? That means the mind is getting stimulated in some way or the other. So I have identified, I was always thinking ego is, oh, as long as, even if somebody says something to me, as long as I don't respond to them internally or externally in a very agitated or elevated state, I'm okay. But in the recent years, I've been learning that ego is even an attachment. Okay, my daughter has to do good, or my son has to succeed, or I have to attain this position. Like desires and attachments are also part of the ego, because we are associating ourselves with the cravings of the mind. So when many times in the discussion you have mentioned that mind is the cause of either bondage or liberation. Liberation is not, I mean, we don't have to leave this body to get liberated. We can be present in the body as well as get liberated. That means the mind has to come to a subdued state where the desires have, of course, it's good to have desire, but for the higher purpose of self-realization and higher purpose of surrendering and accepting things the way they come. But oftentimes as human beings, still we are that in that, at least I oscillate myself between my attachments and my desires. So moksha is nothing but we have to liberate ourselves from our own mind, and then accepting everything as the prasadam of God, just like that princess has accepted that, okay, I have come, now it's time to let go of whatever has come in the form of the kingdom. So that is what I have learned from the story that you have shared just now.
Yeah, the whole thing is if you live in all those people, they are thinking because they're living in, as you yourself said, Atmic awareness. They are very clear that it is not the body. Because most of us, we are identified with BMI. One of the saints often used to BMI, body, mind, and intellect. And these are not that's why Vinashyas to Vinashyas. These are all body will change in life itself. We have seen young, old, and then declining and finally die. Same thing, mind also, over course of time, we say our priorities in life, what you were 40 years ago, 30 years ago, 20 years ago, now they have changed. Intellect, everything changes. Only thing doesn't change is Atmic awareness. That is why those people, lived in Atmic awareness. As you said, it's not being affected by dualities only. That desires is the root of the reason we are born is karma janmas. They are, whereas the avatar saints, they are karana janmas. They come for a purpose for the upliftment of humanity, helping people. Whereas we are born because of our previous unfulfilled desires. So the only way to not to repeat the cycle, otherwise if you enjoy, you can go on. And some people said, what is wrong? Okay, you enjoy. So, but if you really want to transcend that, so just you need to practice. So I don't have time. Maybe next week I will share that. The story of Sikidwaja and Chodala. You are talking about giving that. This is in Yoga Vasishta. All of you can read that. Then maybe then you can grasp it better. The story of Sikidwaja and Chodala. So how they are both, they are also king and queen. Even though those days there is beauty about the old days, like people now, Swami says, even though they cannot, used to talk about one of the politicians, Tamil Nadu, he had stroke, he couldn't speak, and even you got to take the crane and put them on the chair, they don't want to leave. But in the old days, like Dasharatha, just had shaking in his hands when he had, oh, this is the time for me to quit. So when to retire, when to move on, that is the thing. Those days, they used to have that no attachment. Even the kings, all the time, see any of those kings, who will leave down now? Even president, you don't want to leave the president. They renounce one, like even Mahabharata, the Pandavas, they go Prasthana, they go to the Mahaprasthanam, they go towards Himalayas, Dharmaraja, king, or even that guy, Dhritarashtra, all these people, they know the purpose of life is ultimately beyond Vanaprasthan, Sannyasa, and Kulashekha. There are so many kings, if you read, so many of them, they are not kings, but king philosophers. They like Janaka, King Janaka is another great example. So you see, so many Kulashekara Alvar, like that, so many great kings who are even Krishna Devaraya. A lot of people, they were not only kings, but they were philosophers. Now, the people are so sad, politicians, how to mind has come down. But those days, though they were administrators ruling kingdom, their mind was in the high stage. That is what it is. So we'll talk about that story that will give how doing everything till you can be completely detached, go beyond moha. Yes. Anybody else?
One quick thing.
Yeah.
So maybe we could talk in next week's satsang. So since here we're talking about Viswam, I want so the universe.
So by the way, here there is a wrong translation. All of you correct. Yeah. Here on the page 47, Brahmanda. There's somebody translated in the bracket supreme bliss. It is not. Brahmanda is the universe. They thought Brahmananda. Right. Wrong. Somebody who wrote the book. Yeah. It is Brahmanda. That means universe. So that they wrote it as supreme bliss, Brahmananda. There is a wrong translation. I was about to say, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to bring up here.
Oh, you are wrong translation. You noticed that? Good. As if somebody else, I noticed and I was carried away with the story. Yeah, that is. So a lot of time, that's why Swami's thing, sad. So first point, we have been doing, me, Haima, Sridhar, some of the discourses Swami gave, we have fortunately, that is why now the Bible, so many people think this is not the original thing. A lot of things were changed, what Jesus said. Because who here say, and you read the Gospels, Matthew, John, and Luke, so much difference is there. So we don't for sure know. And same thing, Shidi Baba, some stories are different. Sri Ramakrishna, one of the great master, he recorded in the diary, so they're accurate. But Swami's is no problem. Even though these people write, there are audios available, videos available, and some, the Vahinis, he wrote with his own handwriting. So we can go and verify. Even then, we have been seeing, listening to the audio and listening on what Swami said versus in Telugu what they wrote, there is some discrepancy. And what from Telugu they wrote to the English translation, there is discrepancy. Like here, one is typographical mistakes or thing. Another thing is completely the misunderstanding and wrong. So that is why it is a big thing to spend time to go to the originals and do it. So there is a great work. If people, anybody want to volunteer, we want the people who know Telugu and can translate that. We need a lot of people for that, because this is the divine treasure, because Swami's words are like mantra. Every word is so profound. Casually he says, but really more and more you reflect, that is very important. So for the thing, so we need a lot of work to. So this is a wrong translation. Like that, many things we find people translate wrongly.
So not only the translation, I wanted to bring up here.
Uh-huh.
So I wanted to think this is as a Visvarupa Avatara, right? If you think about it, this universe is the longest Avatara, right? The universe is. It's not just the body. Krishna came and body left. Rama came, left. Swami's body came and left. But that universal consciousness is the whole universe. This is the largest and the longest avatara that you don't have to meditate or get some special powers, but we see it. We're in it. How beautiful is that? And so to surrender, to get that surrender bhavana, everything is Visvarupa Avatara. We are a big part of it. It's just what an amazing thing.
That is very good point. I never thought in that angle. Most of the avatars, they are there for 50 years, like Sri Ramakrishna was 49, Shri Baba 80 years. So there are so many years, 80, 90, even Krishna 110. But this, which is Vishwarupa Avatar, which Lord Krishna himself showed, the whole mountains, river, everything him. So this universe lasts much longer. But even that, we can't say it is, maybe a few millions or billions of years. But ultimately, even this, according to our scriptures, the one day deluge is there. So Mahapralaya they call. But then again another universe will come. So the consciousness, which is the fundamental base, is eternal. That is why our people say from the form, you should go to the formless, which is always there. But this gives a connection, Swami, avatars, what they teach, their life and example. But it's a very good point. That is why there is a beautiful book, one I think it's a Muslim man who wrote University of Life. The whole universe is our God, but this is what we find in the life, what we study, that itself is a university where we learn so many lessons towards liberation. So that is why Vivekananda's famous quote, don't seek God, see God. Every day we are seeing God, but thinking there is God is somewhere else. To see that God in the people, in first, at least we should do. So because there also we see in our own family, friends, not in the people who don't like us. We can, even that you should be able to see in whether you like or not. And then you would extend it to the animal, then to the birds, bees, and mountains, rivers. Like there are great masters who do that. Saint Francis of Assisi. Another one is read that peanut carver in this country, black man, African peanut carver. He was agriculture scientist. He just used to go in the forest or places and used to talk to the trees and used to communicate and see divinity in the trees. So there are people in this age also, people who can have that experience of the divine in everything.
Just to add on to that, Uncle, I was recently looking at a video by Wayne Dwyer, The Shift, and in that he talks about how just by simply switching our thought to a little bit of a higher vibration and repeatedly keep doing it consciously over every day or many times over a period of few weeks or months, automatically without even putting in much effort, our vibration and our consciousness shifts to a higher understanding where divinity takes over us, and we will be guided and operated by the divine from within. But just by shifting our thoughts to a little bit of positive thoughts and understanding thoughts and higher accepting thoughts, all that's needed is that repeatedly over a period of time for us to change to a different conscious level of operation.
Yeah, that is the whole secret. Secret is having good thoughts, divine thoughts. That's why it says, Yad bhavam tad bhavati. What you think, you become. Dust you think you are, you'll become dust. God you think, you are God. So main thing we need to assert our Godhood. Always, constantly, this is the discrimination we are talking about. Anything negative comes, right away switch, my God, why is it thinking just positive? So then constantly you practice that, automatically only divine thoughts come, even not only waking, even dream. Think suddenly those thoughts will come. So it is a question of experience. Okay, we'll continue next week.